I think we should. Yeah, I think we're live now. Hi,
Mm-hmm.
everybody. Hi. How are you?
Hello, I'm
Hey,
here.
yeah. Thanks everybody that popped in. Sorry. Hopefully you can hear us. I think our sound should be good. Um, if you can't
I
hear
think
me, please
yes.
let me know. Hiya, Penny. The whole world's going round and round and round. Well, maybe just circle on the screen. Yeah. So we've got. I can see Penny there. I can see Linda there. Thanks very much for coming out, gang. Um, we got a special guest today, our good friend Chris. So she's going to show us some of the stuff that she's working on, and we're going to talk about process and the different things that we do, and teaching.
Yeah, if we
Teaching.
can teach something, yeah, that would be cool. Well, thank you very much, everyone, and thank you very much, Chris, to have me here.
Well, it's been a while between our two schedules. It's been really kind of
Yeah,
challenging to do that.
that's
Hiya,
right.
Susanna. Welcome aboard, Susanna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
So what do
I've
you got in
not
front of
been
you now?
doing much. I've
What's
been
that?
just lazing around, um, and just being dedicated to marking and improving courses and getting new teaching materials.
Oh my.
So my kind of creativity drive has been a little bit in hold for so long, since December. And now that is like Holy Week in Mexico, and we have these 4 days off as
Oh, wonderful.
today until Sunday. It's like, okay, well, let's do something there. So I have recorded some shorts for YouTube and Instagram showing this a fish that I started with Miriam last Sunday.
Wonderful.
And practically that's it. We'll do the paper mache sunflowers. It's a project that's been holding for a long time, 25 years.
Oh
That's
yeah.
long.
You've got
Yeah,
this, you've had this
they
material in
got
stock for
damaged.
that? I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. They got damaged because of the sun. Let me see if I can retrieve one of them. I don't have the new one here, but they got faded because of the sun.
Oh wow.
So I had to repaint them and then use tissue paper again to color this and add a little bit of metal beads or something like that. So the last one is in progress. What I like about this is that the three of them are totally different. They are
Nice.
not the same. But
Well,
well, it takes
it's very
time.
cool looking. The other nice thing about that is that they never go bad.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing. But now I have learned my lesson. I will not put them close to a window,
Oh
especially if the sunlight is there.
yeah.
Direct sunlight totally destroyed these three sunflowers.
Oh
So
yeah.
no, never again.
It's challenging. You find these things out. Oftentimes, you find these things out the hard way because you don't think about how the sun can really tear a thing apart. I've had pieces that I've drawn with pen that as it's been displayed for a month in a gallery, you can literally see the discoloration that starts to take place.
Hmm.
It's very frustrating. So
Yeah, that's right. And well, now more materials are supposed to be a light fast,
yeah.
but who is really going to be alive in 100 years to really
Well, it's under the
confirm?
presumption we live under this societal presumption. I think these days that says everything has to be considered for you know uh, being kept, being recorded, being you know um, able to withstand the ages. And I don't know. I don't know. But it's there's I was at an exhibit one time, and there was a mother and a daughter at the next booth, and they were going on for some time um, about how we want to make sure that our paintings last forever, and all about the fanciest materials that they could find, and all about the most different, like all these different ways and special glass and all these different means that they're going to make their works last forever. And they're just their work is no different than the people on the opposite side of my booth who are also doing watercolors of birds and flowers.
Hmm.
and they look the same. I couldn't tell you the difference between this booth and that booth. They're both very
Hmm.
capable, very competent artists, but it's just all of this obsession about this, longevity and our pieces surviving the ages, and then these people are over here are just knocking them out.
Yeah.
It's how people put, you know, it's how people lean into things, and in the way that they look at themselves and their art. I think maybe. Hi, Anina. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Anina. Nice to see
So,
you again.
yeah, it's really cool seeing some of these names pop up. It's really nice to
Yeah,
see
that's
folks.
right.
Um, okay, so you're working on your what kind of fish is that? Is that a
I think it's kind of a betta fish from the book Animorphia by
okay?
Gerby Rosanes. I have more of his books, but you know what I like about this book? A lot of people don't like the sections where you're supposed to do the drawings and fill the page with bats. I use these empty pages to experiment things.
Sure. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Now, is that pattern down there already? That blue?
No, this is something that I created with wax,
Oh, I
with a
see.
wax marker.
Yeah, China marker. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I created this, and then I went over with some watercolor, and it was interesting pattern.
I
So,
had to search for those China markers like crazy. I couldn't find them anywhere in London, so I had to go over to the city of Toronto and find them at an art store there. And they had 6 different colors,
oh yeah,
and so I picked
I
them all. I picked up at least 2 of every one.
yeah, that's right. They're very good. I am lucky to find them here easily, despite the fact that I'm far away from everything. Okay, like yeah, my closest supermarket is like 12 kilometers.
Yeah, you're in the mountain region, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
now it's getting a little bit more populated with more stores, but I was lucky to find this in a local store because of the construction workers.
Oh,
They
there you
use
go.
these to mark the walls and things and that, and they have a lot of whites.
Well, they're
So I
for
was able
metal.
to find, yeah, and they
Those,
were very, very cheap as well.
well, yeah, they're not expensive. It's just tricky to find them. But those are for marking, like when you're doing metal studs in a building or something like that. Those are
Yeah,
absolutely ideal.
yeah, that's right. And I like the effects that you can create with them, or just playing with a little bit of resistance when you're using watercolor. So it's quite interesting. I still have to do a lot of play with these.
I've got one of them here.
Oh, the mini one.
And
But
I'm
that's
telling
a
you,
very mini.
I'll use something right to the very end of it. Like it's just if you can keep it going, keep it going. But I've got
Yeah.
replacement ones over here. But yeah, I've had this one for a little while.
But if you have a pencil holder, you can use it until the very last bit.
Oh, sure.
So,
Yeah, I tend to do that. I like what that book presents to you. This is an interesting thing that I found at the department store here. And these are all, I've
mm.
used these before, but all of these pages are these tie-dye patterns, these,
Oh, wow.
right? And so these are
Mhm.
all, and there's a whole rainbow of them to utilize. And I really enjoy drawing on these.
Yeah. Is this cardboard paper or just normal
This is
paper?
just cardstock, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and you got this crazy base to work on. It's so sort of, hello, darlings. We're all heading over from Miriam Stream. We had a lot of tech issues. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hi, Paula.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Paula.
So, so yeah, this I thought about putting some of these into this little stack of 6x9s that I have that I'm doing all these drawings on. You were talking about before we started. Was it trying to see
Let me
which one
see.
was it? This?
Ah, that one. Yeah, that one. That one and the lady, because you You drew two of them. That one, the clone, because I was smoking that you were going to clone the lady.
Yeah, cloned her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just duplicated it smaller and smaller as I went along. What else? Oh, here's another one I did with a red pen on green for this character. And I'm
Yeah,
just,
those are nice
the
drawing.
idea is he is a film. His skin is like a film, and he's actually the liquid inside. So that's why the bubbles.
Okay.
And so the idea was that, get some of this. I've got so many of these that I've been doing now that I haven't shown yet. I've got a post pending that has 5 more things to go in it, and I just forgot to hit send yesterday because my day today has been a bit caught up. I haven't done it yet either, so I'm going to do that after our stream. So here's the idea: is that these little bubble areas are going to be filled in now. And then I'll play, because it's the China marker, like you say, when you do watercolor around it, it does this wonderful destabilizing effect
that's right.
to it. But you still get the granulation like crayon. So that's
But
kind
it
of,
also all depends on what you use, because, for example, I have these fins with Derwent ink tens.
okay.
And the paper is not having a lot of tooth. So right now I cannot have like very clear markings on
That's
the
frustrating.
fins. Yeah, I mean it's possible, but they are going to grab like a little bit of the color. It's not going to be a clean white, but it is possible. So I was thinking about the set of pens that I found the other day that I was mentioning to Anina while we were in the chat, and those are the pens.
Oh, nice colored marker pens.
Yeah, and they are fine liners.
I
And
think
I
I've
haven't
used something
used
like
them.
that.
I got them last year and I haven't used them. And they have a very, very small,
Very small tip, very fine point.
fine point. So, and they're, I suppose they're watercolor based. That's something that I'm going to try and check today if they're water based colors. But I was thinking about doing a little bit of experimentation. Maybe
Why
if
not?
not on this fish, maybe on the other one that is a twin.
On the other side, yeah.
One. Yeah, I have all the little figures that Gabriel Rosales likes to hide in gray. So I used to have them in different colors, but now I don't like them that much. So they're
No?
just gray. No, I prefer his more recent work that is fully illustration without
Yeah.
any of these strange creatures. I mean, they're cute and they're everywhere, but still, for some drawings, I find them a little bit annoying.
Well, it's challenging, right? Because you get a sense of muscle and form thinking of real animals in this world. And when you have these fantastical things, you're like, is that a shoulder? What is that?
Yeah, exactly. So I use totally a gray color for them. And I have all my grays here. I have a mixture. I have Prismacolor Junior. I have some polychromos here. I have the Derwent. I have some. I also found this set that I didn't know I had. This Lyra
Oh, nice.
polycolor.
Yeah.
And this set was, I think it's like 10, maybe 15 years old.
Oh, boy.
I haven't used this one, and they're creamy. They are nice. Of course, my first love for everything is Prismacolor.
Well, the Prismacolor has that. It's for not being the most expensive pencil, they operate on a different level.
Yeah, that's right. And I also got a set of polychromos, 36,
Okay.
and I expanded that one to 40 something because I found an outlet of Faber-Castell here in Mexico.
Nice.
So you can buy individual colors for around 30 pesos. Let me just put it like $1 and maybe 20 cents.
That's
So
not
they're
not
very,
very
very cheap.
how we got them in Canada. Yeah.
So I'm really, really in love with that store, but I don't go often because I don't have space for more material and I have to use what I have. So, yeah.
I love the Faber-Castell pencils. I've got so I do this silly thing where when I'll go pick something up, I'll start with the primaries. Is this the
Mm,
ones you're talking about?
yeah.
Yeah, I love these pencils.
Yeah. They have a big, big uh,
They're
collection.
they're quite nice, and they really bring something to it. But I tend to buy red, white, blue, or red, yellow, blue, black, white. That's how I start with any pencil set.
Hmm.
Is that
I
I
tend
start
to
with that?
buy magentas as well. Apart from the red,
Yeah.
I have found that magenta and kind of an ultramarine blue is a good addition to the basic primary colors.
Oh, okay.
So
That is
I
well.
went
Yeah.
to the store and got these, and one of them got beaten by Nico.
Oh.
You can get to see. I hope this is not zooming very well,
Yeah.
but you can get to see the mark there of the fangs. Nico, and he's somewhere here. He's listening to me, and he's like, "Oh, you're too alone." These
Corbin
are
really.
also good. I don't know if you have them.
What is that?
The gold favor
Yeah, that's what these
or
are, aren't
gold
they?
favor.
That's the Gold Faber, the
Oh
Faber-Castell Gold
yeah,
Faber. It's the same thing.
I only have like a couple,
Yeah.
and
See, this
I'm
is the ones
I'm
that
tempted to go and get a small set, maybe 12,
I
maybe
bought
12
yellow,
colors.
red, blue, white, gray, black. Those are the ones that I bought from that, and they work quite lovely.
This one, as you can see, Nico also enjoyed chewing this one out.
Well, they're going to do one thing or another to your tools, cats, right? Like they'll either knock them off or they'll eat them.
Yeah, that's right. They love to be around and checking what you're doing, and of course, being busy buddies as they are.
Yeah.
Those are cats at
Corbin has
all.
developed a tendency of sitting on my arm while I'm working. So if I'm here, he's lying across here, and I find that very helpful.
Yeah. But you know,
Oh,
as they grow older, you let them do
oh,
a lot
sure.
of things
Yeah.
because, I mean, Nico is 5, but Kika is 14, 15.
Yeah.
So now she gets very, very spoiled. Now, if she wants to lie on my chest for 5 minutes, I let her do that. If she wants to be on my legs, the same. If she wants to eat something, I give her a treat because we don't know,
Spoiled.
right?
Spoiled.
Yeah, she's totally spoiled. We don't, and she's healthy and everything, but I mean, a cat that is 14, 15 years old could start getting health problems
Yeah.
because of
Well,
age.
baby just passed away, and
Oh, yeah.
she was 15.
Yeah, I'm so
And
sorry about that.
oh, it's very nice of you. I have her in an urn. She's so we had her cremated, and she's here in the studio in an urn on the shelf here with a picture of her and her toy. And Corbin since then has become very clingy, very. He doesn't let me go very often. Like he's generally right now he's sleeping on a chair on the other side of the room, but Corbin tends to be very needy at this point because he's lost his best friend, his partner there.
Yeah, and we really don't know how these animals sense death,
Yeah.
but I'm totally sure that they understand to a certain point what's going on.
Oh, he
But
did. Like she got cancer and it took her within a month. And we tried to do whatever we could for her, but yeah, she passed within a month. And he knew she was sick and he was standing by her and guarding her. But after she was gone, um, he was wandering around the house crying for a few days and just couldn't figure out where she was. And he'd run to the door every time we opened it.
mhm.
And so now he's pretty much attached at my side, but he's, I think he's getting a little bit better. It's just he's really dependent on us at this point. So, you know,
Yes, they know. They know.
yeah.
When I lost my other cat, 2021, he was 18 and a half years. He
Oh
had
boy.
been sick since January and he passed in June.
Oh
And
wow.
these other
So
two cats, they understood that there was something wrong with him,
yeah,
and they respected him. But also, when he didn't come back, um, they were like, "Hey, where's the other cat?
yeah.
Where's our
What's
friend?"
going on?
So they
Something's
kind of,
wrong.
yeah. I have all my cats cremated, and I have them here.
Okay.
Three,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I've only ever done that with baby. Um, I had her since she fit in my hand, right? And so now, you know. Anyway, so we're looking at maybe adopting another cat so that Corbin has a companion. Just
Yeah,
because
I think
I
that's a
had
good
figured
idea.
out, I was teaching on a Tuesday night a couple of weeks ago, and he was wandering around the house just carrying on. And Lori was like, "We got to get another cat. This is crazy. This is, he's lonely and he's, dependent on, companionship. So that
Hmm.
it's not fair."
Yeah, and when you're home, they are with you, but when you're out, um, they miss you.
Yeah,
They don't understand where you're going. So
but I've
I
been a
think
lot. Sorry.
no, it's okay. Yeah, I think it's a good idea for them to have someone to sleep next to when it's
Yeah,
cold and to play with.
I've been
It's
out a lot lately, so you know, teaching a lot, and I'm doing a lot of other things, and like a bunch of commissions and things, and so he's on. He's getting a little annoyed with me at times that I'm not home when he expects me to be. So
that's right.
yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah, it's so nice to hear that you're teaching. Is it
Oh,
adults, adolescents?
well, there are a couple of different ages right now. Some adult and some kids, and having a lot of fun doing it. It's consuming a bit of time, but that's okay. You know, um, and then I'm putting out some applications about you know something regular, more regular.
Mm-hmm.
Just I've had a couple of years where I really had to learn how to manage being type 1 diabetic, and I think I'm there now. So
Okay.
now because I only became type 1 diabetic as an adult. I had a seizure and it shut off my pancreas, so now became diabetic overnight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Shocking.
yeah. I found out 5 days later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Yeah, that's right. I can totally imagine how difficult that is. But as people say, if you're healthy, you can concentrate in doing something else. And as you say, one of those things is teaching, because if you know how to do certain things, it's a good idea to pass on that knowledge.
Yeah, oh for sure. I got a kind of handle on how to use a couple of things, so I'm gonna do what I can with that. But it's there's a lot of going back to school for myself as well, because I want to make sure that I have answers for things. And I've organized a chalk drawing festival that's going to happen uh, here in London in June, and I'm looking forward to that. Because this is why you see some of the chalk drawing that I've been doing lately,
Hmm.
is that I realized, and I hadn't done any in years, but then I realized, oh, I better show an example of what I'm talking about so that I don't think that I'm talking about like hopscotch, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
So I did this study of the creation of Adam by Michelangelo, and that
Ooh.
started it all off.
I
One of
totally
these.
believe that when you teach something, uh, you feel the need to relearn and learn,
Oh
so you
yeah.
can try and transmit, convey the ideas. It's not like um, so easy. That's why a lot of people say that teaching is not easy because you have to learn or relearn a lot of new things. But also, your students help you learn a lot, and you learn tons from them.
Well, the beautiful thing about students is that they'll ask those questions that, oh, yeah, I hadn't really considered that. There's something fun in that. And the teaching process, though, I mean, it's challenging because, especially with art, excuse me, because with art, we have this sense of this is my precious thing, this is my magical thing that I have made, and I'm, very invested in it. And
Mhm.
and yet at the same time, um, you're learning, and you got to be open to the learning.
Yeah.
And but sometimes as students, there's an aggrandized idea of I'm the best drawer in my class. I'm the there's an educator of the American Abstraction School named Hans Hofmann, and Hans Hofmann would walk up to a composition by a student, and he'd say, put the paint on the palette. What are you doing? Because the students would be dabbing this tiny amount of oil, and he's like, just gob it on there. You're holding
Hmm.
yourself back by the limitation of your supply. And then he'd walk up to a piece and he'd try to help them with exampling composition, with exampling weights and balance, and push and pull of color and value. And so he would go to work on these people's drawings, and they would say, you can't draw on my picture. And he's like, yes, I can. You're a student. You have paid to be taught.
Oh, okay.
So, this isn't a fancy, final, fine work of art that you're going to hang in a gallery. It's just not. But we're trying to help you to find the fullest of your potential. And so he would make marks and drawings on stuff, and the students would be aghast at first, that then they realize, oh, okay, there's benefit to this. I'm not that bold.
Yeah, I
I'm not
wasn't
that bold.
either. But now I teach a language, so that's totally different. But I remember I had a teacher who used tracing paper.
Yeah.
He put it on top of your drawing, and he would make corrections there. And he gave you the
Oh,
paper and said,
wow, that's
"Look,
good.
this is what you need to see. This is what I want you to see, and make the corrections." And I think that was very useful.
I think
And
so.
I
That sounds great.
appreciate it a lot because I studied at a public university, the biggest university in Mexico, UNAM. And the teachers there, they have very, very poor salaries. They are part of a union or whatever. But I'm totally sure that all the tracing paper he used was not a courtesy of the university. He had to pay for that.
So it was a kind of a moral approach to the work.
Hmm.
Paula says teaching is a wonderful gift and very appreciated. Oh, thank you, Paula. That's very nice. It's nice to hear people say that. It's a great idea, the tracing paper. It really is. It's something I think that I might put to use.
Yeah, if you can find a supplier that has good prices and gives you good bulks
Well,
of paper,
so
yeah,
I use
you don't have
printer
to
paper.
use a very thick one. I remember he used the very thin because it was more transparent. Like
So
the.
I've been doing the. I take a piece of typewriter paper, and I will just redraw their picture very quickly.
Mhm.
You know,
Or just the
and
mistakes. I
and
outlined a little bit of the drawing of the student, and for example, if this fin is incorrect, maybe just a portion of the head, and say, look, this one has to
yeah,
go like this way because of the perspective or something like that.
but
So it
they've
would
got
be
to get
like,
that structure so they can see it, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
So that was good of that teacher.
yeah, that sounds pretty brilliant. I just found out that somebody that I know, their father is the person who is my mentor, is the person who inspired me to draw.
Oh my,
And I'm
fantastic.
like, really? That's your dad? And yeah. Well, your dad's responsible for me doing what I do. So she said she's going to pass that on to him. He's
Oh,
retired to the
he's
cottage life.
alive. Imagine if you could meet him.
Maybe. Who knows? We'll see. He's in his at least in his 70s now.
Okay.
But at least in his 70s. I think he's more than likely in his 80s. But because I'm no spring chicken, so he's got to be. He's got to be a couple years there. So
Okay, but it would be amazing.
yeah,
It
yeah.
would be
Well,
amazing.
with the chalk event coming up, maybe he'll come down. Maybe he'll come down and attend that because I think that his daughter is going to be a participant. So
Oh
I'm just
well, if it's a woman, you have more probabilities that she could.
it could, but who knows? We'll see. We'll see. So I'm just playing with different whatever. I tend to be drawing a lot right now with whatever tools are in front of me, and not chasing after things too much. So this is the crazy paper that I was showing you earlier, and I don't think the yellow is revealing too much there. Uh-oh, Chris, you got frozen. Hopefully it'll kick in. Do you want to kick out and kick back in, and I'll...
I'm going to complain.
Oh, there you are. You're back. You're going to
Yeah,
complain.
yeah, I'm going to complain to the company, but I don't know if they will do something.
Well, yeah, if you can, if I don't know if you have to kick out sometimes and come back in or things like that, but we'll wait for you here.
At least it was not.
Did it happen again? Might have happened again. Hopefully she wasn't telling us the secret of the world. The answer to life and everything, right? And then it freezes. Yeah. So anybody that's watching the stream today, I'm always curious about it, what everyone's doing. I haven't been very good of late to be able to try to get out and see on the social media to see what people have been up to. But, please feel free to, share stuff or, yeah, I like to see what people are doing. Okay, she stepped out. Maybe she can step back in again. Now you can see my mess. Uh-oh. Just watching to see when she comes back. Sometimes those settings, the machines are so finicky that the settings, if they're not exactly what it wants. There we go. Hey, you're back.
Okay, I changed to my other modem. So I hope that one doesn't disconnect.
Well, you're back now.
I got totally frozen. Yeah.
I was saying, hopefully you weren't going to say
restart.
something like, here's the secret to life, the universe, and then you disappear.
Yeah, no, well, hopefully not. I still don't have those secrets. That would be. And I think if I had them, I wouldn't be alive. Nobody will
No?
let you be alive telling those secrets.
Hey, keep it to yourself, lady.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Which is surprising, this is something that has always intrigued me. The kids that supposedly remember past lives.
Oh, yeah.
So, is it really true or?
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. There's also certain belief systems that have, if you're good in one life, you'll have a nicer life in the next one. Right? But if
Okay.
uh, if you're bad in one life, then the next life you'll be an ant or you'll suffer for it, you know. And I don't know about any of that either, but I think it's important that we just make the most of while we're here. I always get a kick out of these people that say that they remember a past life. Oh, who were you? Oh, I was Joan of Arc. Oh, were you?
Oh, yeah, right.
You weren't the random peasant that, slipped and died in the mud one day when a horse was walking by. You weren't that one. No, no,
Yeah,
I was King
you
Louis
could
the
not be a
16th.
famous character at all.
Yeah, it's always got to be somebody, I was Yul Brynner. Oh, okay. Yeah. What year did he die? Oh, 2 years after you were born. Okay. Yeah. I'm Elvis Presley. That's who I am, even though I was alive when he was. So, um, Paula says the internet is doing weird all day here in Europe, buffering and freezing. Are people talking double like we're at Woodstock with questionable drinks?
Okay. Well,
What
we
kind of
were
drinks were
supposed
those?
to have a solar storm, but that was supposedly to have ended yesterday. So,
Yeah,
but maybe we're still having a little bit of like, can we call this like a leftover of a storm? I'm not sure if I'm using the
maybe.
correct vocabulary, but
Maybe there's a thing where there's a question in the early. It was sometime in the 1800s where they first figured out the wire system for telegraphs, right?
uh-huh.
And suddenly they had to replace a whole bunch of. There was a really really wicked storms going on, and then they had to replace a whole bunch of wire lines throughout the United States. And
Mm,
the realization now is that it was probably a solar storm. And
okay.
when the sun
Sounds
has
like it.
plasma eruptions and those eruptions carry on and they bring certain kinds of energy that comes all the way out to Earth, like tendrils out to Earth, um, it can throw off our entire system of electromagnetics. And so, the energy hit those telegraph lines and burn them all out. It just completely overwhelmed them, you
Yeah.
know. And so, but if that was to happen today, we are in serious trouble because we don't just have telegraph lines now. Now we have telecommunications and internet and,
Everything
electric.
depends on the grid or a
Yeah,
chip,
yeah.
which is
And if
scary.
it would seriously shut down the world. So, Anita says,
Hmm.
nice portrait. Thank you, Anita. That's nice of you. It's me. No, no, it's not.
No, but it looks that's what I like about watching people like you who draw live. Because right now with the trend of people doing um, artificial intelligence and in seconds they get an image, they are losing so much of the wonder that is to see how something comes to life on a piece of paper.
Well, there's a thing about, I appreciate that, but there's also this thing about how these, um, if these people that are going to go and utilize these services of artificial intelligence for their streaming things about Sasquatches or whatever they're talking about, if they're going to utilize those, then they have to realize that it's only those devices are only so informed, and before you know it, and it's already happening, all of these different images that people are using look the same,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I think the idea is to stand out and have some sort of uniqueness to them for their viewers or whatever it is. And you might think that they don't just want to use what everybody else is using, but that may be my naivete. That maybe the reality may be more so that they just want to jump on the trend, right?
I think, yeah, it's just more a trend and kind of not willing to pay for something that is
Yeah,
craftily made or handmade because they think that they can do it
I can do it
quickly
myself.
with artificial intelligence. But
Yeah,
as you said, is generic. Is something that is built with previous information from real artists.
Yeah.
So it is not completely original. And as far as I know, you cannot yet copyright something created by artificial intelligence.
No. No. There's been instances now where people have tried to do kickstarting campaigns and things like that with AI comics and things like that, and yeah, they're kicked off of platforms, and they're really, people are being very mean to them and saying you're not a real creator, yeah, right. It's hard. It's a hard adaptation period. I think that the majority of people that are going to use AI
Mm-hmm.
weren't going to pay artists anyways.
Yeah, they never intended that. But you also need to be um, a good creator of prompts, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah.
Your syntax, grammar, structure needs to be clear enough so the artificial intelligence can um, get you what you want. I was trying to find an image that I saw like um, some years, no, some days ago, and let me see if I can find it. And there was it's going to be in Spanish, of course,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know that the Ghibli
Yeah.
style got trendy.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people just got their photo, went to chat GPT and say, oh, create my image. Well, I'm going to show this one here. This one says asnos, okay, but that would be donkeys because in Spanish, create us would be with H and Z, then
Oh yeah.
using Ghibli style. So they are saying asnos estilo Ghibli. So make our photo still do this style, and this is what they got. So
Well, they're donkeys.
exactly. So that's why I say that it's not that easy. Just go and say, "Oh, let me use artificial intelligence." If you don't know how to write, it will not happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be meet these sort of criteria, right?
Mhm.
It's that and it is dependent upon the creativity of individuals as well and their ability to associate different ideas together. Otherwise, they're all just going to be doing the same thing, which is what we're actually seeing right now. Is a lot of the
Mhm.
same types of images for people.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
now the trend is the action figures.
yeah.
You have seen those, right?
Or people make their own, the customs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that for about 10 years now that people have been doing that, and it's really taken off now. And I never find, for the most part, anything special about them because they're largely like, okay, so this is the Star Wars characters that weren't made. I want that one,
Yeah. These are the ones that are trendy right now.
Oh, is that where people get this 3D scan of their own head and then they're made into an action figure?
Uh-huh. This is a trend right now.
Oh, for heaven's sakes!
So,
Look
but
at me.
it's
Sorry.
generic.
Yeah. Look at me celebrating my mediocrity.
Yeah. And what I have seen is some illustrators taking this challenge, but with their own drawings, with their own style. So you get to see them drawing themselves. Of course, it's not going to look anything like that, but you're like, oh, it's the real artist, it's the style and everything. Have a lot of people like that on Instagram that I
So,
follow.
well, I refuse to follow a certain very popular drawing instructor anymore. Like I refused. I've unsubscribed from them. I don't want their channel recommended anymore because for their show, these two guys sitting in these chairs chatting, um, and they do these critical reviews of other people's drawings, etc., and talk about how great these how to draw books are constantly. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, well, there's some interesting things I gleaned from that, but at the same time, get drawing. And but they wanted to weigh in on the AI thing, and they just wanted to show people some of the things that people are using AI for, and this is how it works. And then they take one of my favorite artists and they input a bunch of his drawings into AI and input the right prompts, and they make an opening credit image of themselves for their show using AI ripping off this artist.
Oh, so sad.
And I'm like, what have you just done? You've input that artist's work into an algorithm that is global. Other people are going to be able to do. You should be ashamed of yourself for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't give credence to another single other thing that comes out of their yappers. I thought that was really destructive, because
Yeah.
AI only works on what's put into it. So
Yeah, the more styles you feed,
bye, Anina. Thanks for
less
coming
original
over.
it will be.
It's challenging. It doesn't matter how good you draw. It doesn't matter if you're the greatest artist that ever existed. It just matters that you try and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, Anina has to go. Bye, Anina.
yeah,
Thank you for
Anina.
coming.
Some people don't. They want immediate results. They don't want to wait. They don't want to have to negotiate with others. They don't want to have to. Here's my idea. And I'm okay with those people contacting AI mechanisms. And see you later, Paula. Thanks for stopping in. Feeding
Okay.
time.
Hi, Paula. Thank you.
I don't want to have to negotiate anything or pay anybody or anything like that. I just want my immediate bad idea to be transcribed, and I'm okay with those people using AI because I don't want to draw their awkward, creepy things.
Well, yeah, and well, if they want to use it and people want to consume what they create, well, good for them, no? But it's too bad for all the others who are trying to make a living with tangible art
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
you
but
can
those are the people that come up to you and
play.
say, can you draw a drawing of my sister-in-law but make her really hot? And I'm like, no. You and your brother need to have a sit-down conversation.
I do have contacts, not necessarily friends, and I have this lady who likes to draw these kind of things. She doesn't work for the Mexican market. She works for foreigners, but her line of comics,
Yeah.
it's kind of sexy topics
Oh,
and
yeah,
things like
yeah.
that. So she gets the scripts and everything, and of course she has these NDA agreements. So
Yeah.
we only get like small little bits of what she draws, but she says that that's a very huge market
Oh, it's a
overseas.
massive market. Yeah, it's an absolutely massive market. It's just, if you want to do it, if you can do that, that's great.
And
I
if
don't
you
know.
feel okay doing it, because I wouldn't feel okay
No, I
creating
wouldn't do
comics
it.
like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I've turned down jobs for awkward. I had the one guy say, "Can you draw my sister-in-law for me? Like, is this a present for your brother?" And he's like, no, I think I'll keep it. But can you make her really hot looking, like in a seductive pose? And I'm like, no, go talk to your brother.
Yeah, no, those things are,
It's
they really need
awkward.
to have a stomach or something to do that.
Well, I had a guy ask me to do a portrait of his brother and his wife, and then she's unhappy with her weight. Can you make her thinner? Uh, he's got a big mole on his cheek. Can you remove that? She's got a single eyebrow across her forehead. Can you separate that? Like, it's just all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then after all of this business, he says, can you put him in Batman and Robin costumes? And I'm like, he hasn't paid me a dime for this yet. I'm like, here you go. Gave him the photo back, ripped up the drawing. I just tore the drawing down the center and went, yep, we're done.
Yeah. I
He's
mean,
like,
what's the point? Where's the
yeah.
resemblance?
Well, he says to this mutual friend that we have, why is he so rude? Why does he not understand it? And the mutual friends apparently said to him, his time is money, man. Redraw this, redraw that. That's all time that he could be working on something else that makes him money. And you just chewed up all of his time. So no, he's not doing the next thing for you. It's enough. Leave him alone. You should pay him money for the hassle you put him through. And I'm like, thanks, man. Did he? No, didn't. But
Yeah, commissions here. Well, I tried before and I sold a couple. I have not tried because I have very little time. But I'm not so sure about continuing to offer these kind of things because right now people can just go and open the artificial intelligence, upload a photo, and they have a portrait of their pet or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're going to ask me how much, for this size and the material and everything and the time, and I will be like, well, this is more or less like this amount. Let's say, just going to give you a random price. Let's say $60 or something,
Yeah.
$30, whatever. And they're going to say like, no, the artificial intelligence is free, and I can do it faster. Well, go and use it. Why do you ask me to give you a quote on something that you will not acquire?
Did they imagine that you were going to do it for free?
Most of the people here in Mexico think that yes, that you're going to either reduce your prices or that you're going to practically do it for free.
Yeah.
And that's not fair, of course.
Of course not. But generally, the people that would think those things in the first place aren't fair. So, it's just how it is.
So it's better not to offer some products right now because people really cannot see the work behind the expertise or whatever, the years of training and mistakes and this and that. And they think it's just magic, it's automatic, and it is not. It takes years to create a technique, a style, even if it's just color in a book. Nobody colors the same.
Like this is something I'm telling people regularly as well is, well, how do you draw like this and how do you draw like this? And I said, well, just pick up a pencil and start. That's the first step. And eventually you'll color the way that you imagine that you want to color, but, or you draw the way you want to draw, but it takes time. And the first thing you have to do is put a pencil on the surface. If you can't get to that stage, you're not going to color anything anyways.
And because of what you said about having people who want immediate results, if they don't see a result right away, they just quit.
Yeah.
They say, no, I cannot do this. And I get to see a lot of those feelings of disappointment and kind of giving in the groups of adults who are following coloring book pages or things like that. You have beautiful arts there, and you see the original line art, and they put it something like this. They put the original art, and then they put the final work, and you're like, wow, it's fantastic. And people who are coloring there for the first time, they want to achieve that in one coloring, and of course, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, it's hard for people, right? We live in an age of immediate accommodation. And so with that in mind, people expect immediate accommodation. They expect, that it's going to be what they imagine they wanted it to be right out the gate. And they don't think that, well, in order for that to be the case, you have to A, B, C, D, E.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I want it now. So, it's a different time. It's a great deal of adaptation going on in the world right now. It's just going to take people time to get used to it all and to understand it and to, see how the new way works and then to figure out what's polite or what's impolite. But people don't know that now about asking artists to do things and, whether they're actually, like you'll see somebody does I've had instances where somebody will see one of my paintings or drawings, and then immediately ask me if I can do a drawing of their dog. And I'm like, where do you see in this piece before you that I draw dogs? You know, they're only thinking about it from their headspace, and that's completely fine. That's completely legitimate. It's just, you know, you go up to a person, and I'm not an abstractionist, but you go up to a person who does pieces that are very abstract, and they just say, "Can you do a picture of my dog?"
Yeah, that won't happen.
They probably won't.
Yeah,
They
because
don't.
you specialize in something, and that's what you develop, and that's what you study, and things like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, another thing that I have noticed in some of those coloring groups or portrait groups is the constant fight of showing off that you have the best material available.
yeah.
And you get to see people with a coloring book with this paper that has no tooth and is very, very smooth. And they get to see, and oh, these colors are the best, or they're showing off a Prismacolor or a polychrome or something like that. And they don't get to understand how the tool works.
No,
And not because you have a good tool, it means you're going to be a good artist. You
that's
have
the
to work.
John Lennon. That's the John Lennon reference that I give, right?
Hmm.
When people say, you know, I don't know a lot about these things, but I like to, I like to draw, or I like to draw, and I want to be this person, and I'd like to be that, and I see myself as being a bit of this and a bit of that, and they describe themselves in all these different ways. And somebody was carrying on this way, and then asking John, and it was a conversation that was leaning towards politics. And John Lennon's response was, "Listen, mate, I'm a musician. You give me a tuba, I'll try to give you something out of it, but I don't know much about anything else.
Hmm.
And I don't profess to." And I've always thought that was interesting. I've always thought that knowing yourself, your capabilities, but there's a great deal of people that will walk up to an exhibiting artist at a show and say, "Oh, did you paint these? Yeah, these are all right. My brother could probably do better. He's a really good artist." Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, that's very
That's
common.
great.
Hmm.
Yeah, we were at the cottage a couple of years ago, and I gave him a set of watercolors, and he painted our cottage. Oh, okay. But there's no part of me that's interested anymore in that conversation to say, does he paint anything other than your cottage that one time? Because it doesn't matter. They've got their assessment of how things work and how the world is, and how they judge things, and that's great. That's what, let them have it. But they just don't understand that walking up to somebody and saying something like that is, you know, rather disingenuous, discourteous,
Hmm.
anyways. But you got to develop a thick skin, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. I left a coloring group. I was not very active, but I liked to watch some of the shorts or reels because they were able to put some reels of their techniques. And suddenly they admitted this woman, I don't know where she was from,
Yeah.
but she was like, "Oh, look, my husband got me the 120 color set of polychromos."
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, congratulations! Let's get to see your work or whatever." No, well, she was having books like with manga characters or anime characters,
Yeah.
and let's imagine that this was kind of a purse or a bag or something in one
Mhm.
of the books, and she grabbed her. I'm not going to use my polychromos, I'm going to use the juniors, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, she colored something like this, and she didn't accept any criticism.
Well, because she knows. She knows better than everyone around her.
And she blocked people whenever they tried to tell her, why don't you go and watch this person to help you use your tools because you have a very nice set. She was very rude. She was very rude. So I got tired of her responses. And
Sure.
I never interacted with her. But I got tired and I said, no, this woman is not going to learn anything from anybody.
Yeah, and it's a challenge, right? Like people that sometimes people think that they're great. I'm a great supporter of the art. Oh, that's fantastic. That's really nice. I'm glad to hear that you support the thing you're interested in. And then I had one person reach out to me recently, and they said, "I need you to be at this event, this all day event, and an honorarium could be uh, negotiated."
Hmm.
And I'm like, I'm not negotiating an honorarium with you. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, of course
You
not.
know, you want me to come to this thing, you pay me to come to this thing. I'm not negotiating jack squat.
No, and a day event is very hard to cover.
The whole day. Sure, let me give you a whole day of my time to negotiate. You give me $25 or something stupid. Get out of here. And they probably meant her to be some degree of a fee, but still the language they just don't under. Would you negotiate with your dentist?
Hmm. No, no, no. If well, I wouldn't like to work with people who come and tell you, "Oh, would you like to be here?" And we're just going to give you some um, help with marketing or something like that. Not
Oh yeah,
nothing, no, nothing. Not even food or water. You have to cover those costs.
yeah,
And I have seen people doing that in comic conventions here in Mexico. Like, first of all, they have to pay for the stand, and it's not even a stand; it's a table with a cloth
yeah.
and a chair, and that's it. So you have to pay for your transportation, your food, somebody to help you. And we're talking about the last time I heard about the price, it was like $100, the table.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a ripoff. These are newcomers, these are young artists. They are not known names. You probably know about Humberto Ramos.
Yep.
He draws, or he used to draw Spider-Man. He's probably the one of the few five Mexicans who have a name internationally.
Well, he did that with his Crimson series. He's very popular around the world.
Yeah, that's right. But for him, he gets, of course, the tables for free or something like that. But
Yeah.
all the other aspiring artists, they have to pay all this amount of money and they come to their tables. And practically what they sell are stickers because people here in Mexico don't want to buy books. They are too expensive.
Well, that's just the con aesthetic. Like I'm the art director for the London Comic Con,
Hmm.
and so I have the fancy artist guests, the people with the big name, talent, and I have them upstairs. On the second floor, I have them in a specific area. But then at the same time, we have a huge, expansive artist alley for all of the beginning and mid-tier artists, and we keep our table rates low because the whole idea is to give all these people an opportunity for exposure.
Exactly.
You can't charge them hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars because they need to make it back. But at the same
Hmm.
time, with a lot of artists, they think, well, how are you going to make my stuff sell? I'm like, I'm not going to make your stuff sell. You're going to make your stuff sell. And if you can't figure it out, you're doing the wrong thing. We've got a exhibition space for you. I try to make sure everybody gets some water and things like that. But,
Hmm.
I'm not, there's a lot of these people that are, it's their, they're not committed fully. And, well, those people are generally the ones first and foremost that expect all of the things. I want all of the things. For what? Get out of here.
Yeah, that's right.
Earn
No.
them. You know, there's a thing that I don't draw um, there's all these guys that I know who all want to work for these big companies. And so they do all these pinup pictures of all the superheroes and things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do those. I do the one-page stories, and people are like, do you do commissions of Batman? I'm like, no. And they say, well, why? You're in comics. I'm like, yeah, but there's lots more to comics than just Batman.
Yeah, that's right. And those are images that have got copyright.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you can do fan art, but if you're going to be selling that, I don't think it's okay.
So we had a guest, Neil Adams was a guest at our show, and very popular artist, started in the 70s, did the whole Muhammad Ali versus Superman book, amongst a million other things, added the yellow logo to Batman's chest, so on and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was this person who, wanted to be Mr. Big Stuff. Now I've done all this work for all these companies and I did all this original art. And then up on he has this obnoxious 12-foot tall wall of his paintings and things. But the thing is that his paintings are based on other people's art. They're not his drawings so he's got a cover that he's done where he's actually just repainted an image by Neil Adams. And Neil is our guest at the show, and Neil sees it and he says, you're telling people that you did that. And he goes, I did do that. And he goes, no, you didn't. I did that. You've colored it. Stop telling people you're this guy when you're not this guy.
Yeah, how upsetting.
So, yeah, well, he had a little snit and left the show. And strangely enough, this person still asks every year about being a featured guest. And I'm like, do you have no memory at all?
Oh, well, some of them are, I don't know how to say that, but very hypocrite. They really don't care. And yeah, there were a lot of artists here who tried to become famous by drawing fan art first, but later started gaining some income by doing commissions.
Sure.
Like, oh, I want a Batman mixed with the style of The Simpsons, for example.
Yeah.
And they did that. But
Well,
they were not the official artists from the company. So they were not having a license to draw the character. And it's not their character.
Yeah, but if the companies come by, they'll shut some of those people down. But there's a lot of people that do that, and it's international. They do that around the world. It's unfair, and it's disingenuous, but customer says, I like Batman. I like the way you make pictures. You make me Batman pictures. Snap, snap. And if they want that client, they'll do that thing. And I know some very talented individuals, and they want to work for these big companies. And I say, well, your style doesn't fit those companies. They won't, unless you get the right editor. That's a closed door policy for independent artwork. And you've got all this talent. Why don't you work on your own thing in the meantime, and maybe somebody will see it and discover you, and there you go. One day I'm going to work for these companies. Well, maybe one day you will, but right now you're 49 years old, and you have never done a full comic book. So.
Yeah, that's right. And those characters, the ones that we know, talking about Marvel, DC, whatever, all of them have very specific guidelines. So they look the same all the time. So the person who gets the job could probably add maybe a little bit of his style. But in the end, he or she has to follow the guidelines. So, for example, Mickey Mouse looks exactly like Mickey Mouse, or Spider-Man is always a Spider-Man, or Batman the same.
Yeah.
But the people who literally rip off clients saying, yeah, I can draw a commission using any character, they don't know exactly how much harm they are doing to the industry to other people, because of course you cannot have 100 people drawing Batman.
Well, you know what? I'm
There
not
has
worried
to be
about
a
the
main
end.
artist.
I'm not worried about corporate characters. I'm not worried about the companies. I don't think it hurts them at all. It's just free publicity. But I am worried about that creator's individual journey. I am worried that the person who is spending all of his time, if you like to do Batman so much, why don't you create a character that's like Batman, that's your own, and create your own story in your own book? Because you can do that. You can do something that's similar to, but not exactly this. And you know, I would sooner see them do that and not have their creativity stumped into this sort of really thin net that they're trying to assign themselves to by working for this company that may well never hire them. You know, I would sooner see them work on their own stuff, their own project, and see what they can make from that. I forgot to check the size on this. I better do it now. So I'm just
But your
drawing on
portrait
these.
is looking really, really good.
Which one's that? The blue one or the other one?
I like both. I like both.
Very
Yeah.
kind of different approaches, but
Mm-hmm.
having fun, you know. Yeah, I would sooner see people do their own work than focus on somebody else's product. And that's all of those are, those corporate things. They're just product. They're not. Batman's just Batman, you know. But the people
And
that
well, right now, oh,
sorry.
sorry. Right now, I don't know if we already have had a lot of superheroes, and now the market is full.
Well, the market's
So,
never truly full. The market is just looking for what's next. And I mean, the European market has got such an absolutely wonderful, diverse array of materials that have changed and ebbed and flowed over time. I mean, those of us old enough to remember, you know, the Les Schtroumpfs or Tintin or Rupert the Bear
mhm,
or, you know, um, Asterix Obelix, you know, all of these different fantastic books towards children, Dan in the 1960s in Britain. There's a whole bunch of different possibilities for stories. 2000 AD and Judge Dredd, and you know, there's no pigeonholed market. But in North America, there seems to be this fetishization of either superheroes or books about that time you were rejected in high school, you know, and
mhm.
it's a very limiting market. I'm happy to see children's books being made. You know that the two biggest companies for comic books aren't DC and Marvel, right?
Mm.
The two biggest companies for
I
comic
thought
books
they were.
in North America and well into South America, they're Viz and Scholastic,
Okay.
because all of that material for classrooms and for teachers and for young adults and all the manga, that's the biggest companies. Those are the biggest two companies, not Marvel and DC.
Okay.
They sell 8 times as much as Marvel and DC.
That's amazing.
Isn't that
I'm trying
radical?
to remember. Yeah, it is. Here it's a, yeah, I think there's a superhero kind of market here, especially with movies.
Yeah.
But if we are talking about printed material, I think it's more manga and anime, and then the stories that are drawn from the anime.
Yeah.
That's mostly what is sold here in Mexico.
So that's Viz. Viz Publishing is the main one for
Yeah.
those in North and South America. So, you know, that's the popular trend right now. It's not superheroes. It's One Piece and Bleach and My Hero Academia and Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the superhero market sells maybe
Yeah.
30, 40,000 units on titles that manga books will sell 450,000 units. You know, it's crazy. It's a crazy factor difference, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is because also the ideas and the way the Japanese portray their stories is very attractive for other markets. And I don't know, it's something really cool about those drawings and stories and backgrounds.
Well, it's a
I think
different.
I have an encyclopedia of manga.
Yeah.
I don't know where
Pardon
I
me.
put it. I
It's
think
a
I have it
different.
in one of my boxes here in the library that I have got here.
Nice. Yeah, when you have a storytelling approach that doesn't regurgitate the same heroic story of the hero's journey, like the hero's journey or the monomyth, or this book is all about the good guys against the bad guys, and you'll see many European books or manga books where this book is about the bad guy who doesn't realize he's the bad guy, and things like that they're eye-opening, and they're you know they're fresh and they're new and they're exciting, and they're doing things that the superhero punch up of the week isn't doing. This is why a lot of the talent that is being hired by
Mhm.
the companies these days is RB Silva, Mickey Montillo. There's so many of these great creators, and they're not American. They're not. A lot of really great stuff is coming out of Spain and Portugal, and to an international audience. So
Yeah, I heard a podcast the other day, and it was like this guy was saying that France is still a very good spot to have um, comics published and comic fairs, and
oh yeah,
that it was like a kind of an axe from all European artists to always go to France and and I don't know, do a lot of things there.
yeah. There's a collector that I know of who lives in the Netherlands, and he's so excited every year to go to the French comic, the Parisian comic exhibition. He's so excited to go because
Hmm.
he sees all these titles and all these books and all these series that he loves. Like, I collect a lot of European comics, you know, because they're so different and they're so interesting, and especially in comparison to some of the same story approaches that people take here. Well, they have the temerity, they have the confidence to follow through on those story ideas. Whereas in the North American market, oh, we can't kill the good guy, you know, or they play with fun conceptions like
Or there
here's
are
a
like,
sorry.
yeah, sorry. I was thinking about what you said about events there and artists, and kind of comparing those to events like Comic Con in San Diego.
Yeah,
There are practically no more comics there,
no, it's
or
it's
very
comic
few.
cons. Comic cons are not really about comics. Comic cons are about collectors and movie watchers and fanatics, like just people that, oh, I'm a big fan of Marvel. Oh, what's your favorite book? Oh, I don't read books. I just watch the movies. Oh, okay. They're a fan of Marvel. That's good. You know, they enjoy their thing. They don't have to read the books, but when they don't realize there are books, that's problematic. That's where an industry,
Hmm.
misses the mark. Or they'll read the book, they'll come to the store after seeing a movie, and they'll say, I'm a big fan of Thor. And Marvel, at the time when the Thor movies were coming out, Thor was replaced by Jane. There was a female Thor running around in Thor comics at the time. And I'm like, you guys are ridiculous. You've got all these new people wanting to come and read the books, and you've changed the character. What makes you think that they're going to come back to read the books?
Yeah, and there's a big argument between real fans and fans of the movies, and like, no, this is not based things that are considered canon, or I don't know. It's an interesting thing to see, not to get involved,
Yeah.
but just to see all the different points of view of the people who started reading those comic books when they were young, and they know all the history of the character, or and they have followed not only the movies but the animation, the animated programs
Yeah.
that if you remember, I think they were from the 60s, like the first Iron Man and Thor, and the images, the animations were like very, very like
And yeah,
stiff, like Thor
that was
flying like
how.
this.
Well, they would only animate the parts that were moving. And so that's why the bottom lip just moves and the rest of the head doesn't. We got to go get those guys because it was cheaper than animating the entire face of the person. That's what they were doing in the
Yeah.
60s. That's good fun.
But they were fun. Now they are very fun to watch, of course.
Oh,
You
yeah.
laugh a lot with.
Nostalgia. There's
Yeah, it is.
industries change, and these different. That's looking really wonderful. What you're doing there. There's a lot of
Thank you
changes
very
in
much.
industries, and there's a lot of expectations by people of this is how it should be or shouldn't be, and there's an awful lot of wondering about what could possibly make me feel part of it all, make me feel part of everything, where I express my love of this and admiration of this, and it has the same merit as the next person. Because people link themselves intrinsically to the stuff that they love. So they want to be seen as immersed. They want to be seen as part of it. It's challenging. It's, sorry. It's one of those things where just enjoy yourself and enjoy the things that you see and that you like, and celebrate that. And don't be so worried about fitting in with the cool kids. People are silly.
Yeah, that's right. But we are forced to live fast. Society is asking us to produce faster, to be more efficient, and sometimes that's very overwhelming.
Oh, yeah. I draw comic books, and yet, I like to study classic paintings and things. And people are like, well, which one is it? I'm like, what do you mean, which one is it?
Okay.
Do them both. I'm doing whatever I want. I don't, I didn't know we had to ask permission. I didn't know there was a set rule, but I really like what you've been
Good
doing.
art takes time. Thank
What's
you very
that?
much. Yeah, I say that good art takes time.
Sure.
It takes time. It doesn't matter what you do. Let me try and put this one up. I'm going to correct a little bit of the blues that I have here because I used the wax marker to try to give a texture, but I think I didn't put enough wax. So if I don't like it, I'll go to the traditional black that I use. Let me just see if I can show you one. This is normally what I do in this book.
Yeah.
I have all the backgrounds black so they can stand out.
Yeah, push them forward.
So this is my experimentation phase. But so far, the fish, I like it. It's a mix of a lot of things, like normal color pencil, Inktense. So, and I'm keeping the weird guys gray. Hopefully, I can finish this page before I go back to work on Monday. I don't promise the other side. Definitely. That's not going to happen. But
but the fact that you take these pages.
Sorry,
and
I interrupted.
No, I interrupt you. The fact that you take these pages and you make them your own is wonderful. I'm sure the next person has a completely different.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to use acrylic. Yeah, I'm going to use acrylic on the bubbles, I think.
Why not?
Because I really don't I don't put any protection to the white. So I really have some areas that are supposed to be white and they're red or gray. So what I'm going to do is that, and probably, I'm not sure, I don't know how to use this. I just cut yesterday a small little page, and
Yeah.
kind of a small little like squares, rectangles. So I'll probably do a little bit of experimentation with those.
Why not? Why not?
I'll try to use Instagram to post my experiments there. But so far, I'm having quite fun with just throwing everything here and see what happens. I don't have here my Sharpies.
Well, that's the way to do it.
Here.
This whole stack of silliness that I'm doing here, this is all just playing, while I'm working on commissions and things. And, the fun in that is really uplifting to me. It makes, it allows me to rejuvenate myself and then go back to, the portraits and stuff. So that's good. All right. Well, I'm going to have to get going.
And as you... Yeah, me too. My dad is back, and I have to fix something to eat.
We've got to take our.
But thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for coming, everybody. If you get a chance, please go and take a look at Chris's work. Chris, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram with the user that I'm going to put in the chat.
Yep.
Let me just put it all in small caps. I don't know how to write today. I'm dyslexic. Okay. So this is at Instagram. And I'm trying to work with my channel also, try to activate it a little bit more, but it's been a little bit hard to do some recordings and things like that. So let me try and copy the link and also share it here.
Of course.
Okay. Let me see. Where's the chat?
Oh, Susanna's off. Bye-bye,
Okay.
Susanna.
There you go. Bye, Susanna. And Linda, thank you for listening. Right? They have been very quiet in the chat, probably listening to us, like going through different topics.
Oh, sure.
But there you go. You have got there
I appreciate
my
that. So
two possibility of contact.
Well, there you go. Look,
they are in the chat.
Look Chris up online and take a look at her work. It's fantastic stuff that she does. Thank you everybody for coming out today. Thank you very much to Linda Renz, the moderator with the mostest, and I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. So I will be back Tuesday. I think I'll be back Monday or Tuesday. But in the meantime, go have some fun making some things and coloring some things and enjoying yourselves, folks. Susanna's got her hands full of paint. There you go. Great. Thanks very much, everybody.
Nice.
Bye for now.